Good evening. Todd Charles Chewshaw reporting to the general electorate on how preferences work and how this is definitely rigged on how your preferences, I'll take it down to the basic terms, how your preferences go. It's either Liberal or Labor, and this is how they keep getting in. Because all the minor parties, it doesn't matter even if you put Labor or Liberal, which you are forced to do. You are forced to take one with preferences all the way in. If you don't fill in those boxes, it'll be void or it'll just go to the government in power. Now, this is from a government website I've done. I'll basically to let you know how it works. If you were to vote me in and I got, say, the majority of votes, 35%, which is the majority of votes, but because she cast 1-6 or 1-7, or how many people as a candidate for that electorate, you'll go 1-10 if there's 10. If there's only 3, you'll go 1-3. But the thing is, if I don't get over the line with 50% of the votes, which is utterly ridiculous, all my votes will go to number 2. Now, if number 2 doesn't get over the line, it'll go number 3. So unfortunately, it'll probably go down to 5 and 6, and you guessed it. That's where we've got Labor and Liberal. And the thing is, people are going to turn around and say, well, I didn't vote Labor, I didn't vote Liberal. I voted for One Nation. I voted for Family First. I voted for Trumpets. But the thing is, all those minor parties, if you don't vote for us, over 50% of the vote, we're just not going to have a chance. And you're going to have Labor in it. They've cornered the market. This is what it is. I'm pissed off about this because it's a joke, right? Now, back in 1918, you had a majority of the vote where you voted once and once only. Now, sorry about my voice because I've been talking and I'm pretty passionate and I'm cranky. I'm cranky about it because they've been doing this, I think, now for 2013 or something. All these minor parties don't get a vote. It has to be over 50%, number 1. Otherwise, flick it, and it goes to 2. If they don't get 50, flick it, goes to 3. They don't get it, flick it, goes to 4. They don't get it, flick it, 5, and guess what? They'll be Liberal or Labor. They'll get 1, 2, 3, and 4 votes, all those other votes, plus their vote, and then that gets them over the line of 50%. Now, does that make sense to you? That doesn't make sense to me, and it is so rigged and so corrupt, it is unbelievable. And this AEC should have picked up on this yonks ago. How much is the AEC getting paid? Anyway, I'll read this to you. This is your government preferences. Now, this is off a government website. With every system of election, there are 2 quite separate and distinct processes. The voting process and the scrutiny process, that is, the counting. The first is performed by the voters in the casting of their votes, while the second is carried out by the officials responsible for the conduct of the election. The procedure for the scrutiny of votes in House of Representatives elections is provided for in the electoral law, right? So this is what the Electoral Commission is supposed to do. But as I said with those preferences, there should be one vote for everyone. We're supposed to be a democracy, and we are a democracy. But these politicians, as I said, they are so corrupt and money in their hands. I don't know how much money they want, but they're not getting it into heaven. Trust me. They can deal with Mr. Louis Cypher, and they're not going to like it down there. Right. Now, until 1918, the first past the post voting process was used. This one is the simplest forms of voting. The simplest form, that's the terminology for the normal average person on the street. He knows how to vote. People do not understand the preferences. People will just go in there and put vulgar pictures everywhere, and that won't count either. You've got to learn how to vote. And these preferences have got to go. This is one of the simplest forms of voting. And this is the simplest form of voting. And most of them are solicitors and lawyers and stuff like that as politicians. And they want to make it so complicated for us. Get back to the basics and make it simple for anyone to vote. It requires the voter to indicate a vote for only one candidate. This is 1918. This is what our forefathers made simple so everyone could cast a vote in the simplest terms. And the candidate with the greatest number of votes, that is a relative majority, is elected. So if I got 30%, everyone else got 5% and 4%, even 28%. Because I got 30% of the votes, that's cast as the majority. Now that is a democracy. One vote for everyone. No preferences. The voting process now in use is a preferential, usually referred to as preferential voting. Sorry, my voice, and I am so uptight. I am so cracky with it all, because they've rigged it legally. Also known as the alternative vote system. Preferential voting. The preferential voting system used is an absolute majority system where for election the candidate must obtain more than 50% of the votes in the count. As I said, if I get all the majority votes and I get 30% and I'm across the line, it will go to number 2 and then number 3 and so on. Not a bloody democracy, is it? They've rigged it. It's cheating and it's downright, they're scum. They're scum of the earth. These bastards have got to go. The voter is required to mark his or her vote on the ballot paper by placing the number 1 against the name of the candidate of first choice and to give contingent votes for all remaining candidates in order of preference by their conservative numbers, 2, 3 and 4 and so on, as I explained. But I stick to basic terms and the terminology to the average Joe Blow on the street. All squares on the ballot paper must be numbered. All through one square may be left unnumbered. Only one square, so everything else got to be numbered. In which case the blank square will be deemed to be the voter's last preference, provided the first preference has been included. Okay, so if you go for everything down there and you don't put anything in the last box, I'll just put a preference in there for you, basically. The voter's last preference. Okay, so if Liberals last, I'll just put Liberal in there. Labor's in there, or the Trumpets are in there. They'll just put you last in the box anyway, even if you don't mark that box. So if it's not marked and everyone's got 20% down that line, and you do a vote, no vote there for anyone, well, they'll put Labor there or Liberal. Whatever isn't on that that voting paper that hasn't been marked will be put in that box. So don't think you're not voting Liberal or Labor, because you are. Technically you are. And this is the preferential. It's got to go. It's got to go. It's bullshit. Be deemed to be the voter's last preference, provided the first preference has been indicated. The first step in obtaining the result of the election is to count the first preferences marked for each candidate. If a candidate has an absolute majority, that is 50% of the vote. How many first candidates get the first 50% of the vote? I'd like to know. Yeah, then that's not even, that's 50% plus one vote, so you've got to get 51%. As I said, if you vote 1 and you vote 1 for that candidate and he gets 30% of the vote and everyone else gets 5, 10%, well, the one you voted for gets in on majority. None of this bullshit. If a candidate on the first preferences or at any later stage of the count, that candidate is elected. The next step is to exclude the candidate with the fewest votes and sort those ballot papers to the next preference marked by the voter. This process of exclusion is repeated to achieve the two-party preferred figure. Until there are only two candidates left in the count, even through one of those candidates may have been declared elected at an earlier stage. This is just so blunt. This is so corruption in your face. And when you want to search for things, it will be given to you. You seek and you shall find. I am your crusader. I am your crusader, and I fight for the people. And they know I'm fighting for you guys. And I can get strength from each other. And why emotional? That's what I'm living a human experience, and trust me, I'm having emotions here, and it is anger. And I hope the electorate sees that anger, because you guys and girls should be cranky yourselves. I mean, we should be up in arms. It's there. It's there. Go to the government website, and you can see it in black and white when you print it out. In the Parliament House of Representatives, Powers and Practice and Procedure, Practice 7, Chapter 3, method of voting. Why did not they leave that in 1918 to vote one and one person only? Because they rig it for themselves. A lot's going to happen, and I tell you, the more and more I dig and delve into stuff, the more and more I'm going to tell you guys. And we too right, we should be up in arms about this. And bloody cranky about it. I hope you're cranky like me. And I'm probably at about 8 out of 10 on that level at the moment. But because I can control it. You've got to control all your emotions. Anyway, I'd just like to put that out there for everyone to see. And remember, whoever you're voting for, whether it's Mark, Lucy, Charlie, Tom, even myself, please, number one, and put Labor and Liberal, they're going to get in anyway, because I just told you how it all worked. Because if you don't put that number one person in that you want, you've got to get 50%, 50 plus one, 50% plus one. How near impossible is that? Whereas if you got someone in number one, they might only get 25%, but at least they're still going to get in if you cast one vote. We've got to change this back to the 1918. We've got to go back nearly 100 years to rectify this shit system that they've rigged and corrupted for themselves. Scum, snouts in the trough, gravy train, whatever we want to call it, it is not right. And we know what is right from wrong. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. And God bless to everyone. Love and hugs go out there to everyone. I mean, hey, I'm not pissed off with the people. I'm pissed off with the system and how these governments' so-called democracy work. They definitely don't work for us. I do. I'm here for you guys. And I hope I give you strength and energy to fight against his tyrants. They're tyrants. Anyway, as I said, love and hugs to everyone. My heart goes out to everyone. And God bless.